the governance from identifying the stakeholders at the client organization and the development organization, and having a proper agreement between the people at different layers, like the management layer, the domain experts, the technical experts, the engineers, and the clients, the people who are coming in, the member firms that are coming in, the third-party applications that are coming in, to have certain level of certification happen at the protocol level, the vendors, okay? And then you have an agreement with all the stakeholders in terms of identifying the deliverables, the artifacts, the test plans, the schedules, and how do you handle changes, the change management. And you agree upon the metrics. What are the metrics that need to be captured, and what are the acceptable levels that should raise an alarm, and what are the escalation procedures, because we're dealing with a global market, a global workplace where the development organization could be working at a different time zone versus the client organization versus the QA organization, and then what are the escalation procedures if there is anything, downtime that has to be informed. And if you are, as a QA organization, entering into a subcontract with another vendor that's doing some work for you, how do you do the testing and integrate it along with your work so that the quality is not compromised? Then we can look at the actual the testing, authoring the test cases, and how do you approach it. When you have the requirements, you can approach it at 3 different levels. At level 1, at the highest level, you would look at it as a business process flow. You'll try to model it as a business process flow. Then you take it down and break it up into logical group of actions, like a scenario, and each scenario could be broken down further at the next level into lowest level unit test cases or verification points as test cases. So if you look at a typical business process flow of a regular trading day, and if you look at a good till date or good till cancel kind of order coming in, either a limit order or a stop limit order, you can look at all the options, all the logical flows that it goes through before it gets traded or not. Then if you look at this one limit order as a logical scenario, then you look at it's a buy order or a sell order, what is the verifications that's happening. Then at the lowest level you can look at a typical verification point for a sell order. You want to check if the price is less than or equal to the best bid. That could be your lowest level test case for a verification point. So that's how you divide and conquer to make sure that you capture the complexity by modeling it, by taking it down to different layers and coming down to the lowest level of verification points for test cases. Then you have this whole dynamic of the several interfaces that are there, the different gateways through which you have communication happening. If you look at the center as your trading engine, the matching engine, if you will, and you have your flow brokers that are coming in through a BARS, booth automated routing system. I mean, a exchange in US could have this kind of a setup. So then you have your quotes, your trades, and your reporting happening through a SIP protocol in NASDAQ, okay? And then, or you have your private linkage providers for away market orders, the routings and executions through a DMA gateway, or you could have your member firms coming in through a fixed gateway, and your third-party applications are coming in through their own API and front ends that are agreed upon. And then you have your IDCA gateway through which your service desk manager is handling all the administrative and balancing acts as the market fluctuates. Then you have your database related information coming in through your FTP protocol. So you have so many different inputs, interactions that are happening through different gateways and different protocols. And then how do you test around it? How do you make sure that your protocols are being tested for before they come in and do the trade at the gateway level, at the server level? And how do these things integrate? Then you have this performance issue. With this new generation of trading systems, response times becomes very critical because you're talking about huge volumes of data and the need for them to be processed incredibly quickly. And literally time is money because you're looking at people who make money, and then as the trade gets delayed, I mean, loss of commission, okay? And if it takes longer, you're losing money. Then you have this highly complex multiple protocol, multiple API connectivity that's happening. And then you need to make sure that the performance is tested for, the latency. And if you have any subsystems, they are also tested for performance so that they don't become a bottleneck. Then you have a typical trading day wherein you're testing for some seasonal peaks, some daily peaks that are happening. And then there might be some fast market, some information that makes the market crash or boom in a short period of time. And then how do you test for your memory leaks? How do you soak test for that? Then this whole issue of data management. How do you manage this whole huge volumes of test data? How do you come up with it, and then how do you generate and manage it efficiently? Then you have your failover recovery testing that has to happen. Okay, you want to make sure that you have your recovery and failover plans in place, and then if there is a failure, that you have a backup that comes up immediately, and then your recovery time is also within limits, and then you have standard operating procedures to ensure they're robust and comprehensive. And then you also want to make sure that you have this acceptable time limits that you set up as a performance criteria in all these areas, like your software, your operating systems, the processes underneath the operating systems and the application. And what if there is a hardware failure? Do you have any kind of a clustering in place for hard disk failures? And what is the backup mechanism for your power failures, and how long does it sustain? And what if there is a network failure? Do you have alternative routing systems in place? So all these things become areas of interest for testing purposes to make sure that failover recovery is in place. So in summary, stock exchanges have a basic inherent complexity in terms of the business process flows and rules, and testing is very critical to ensure that the business delivery happens successfully. And if you look at a typical stock exchange, the key areas of interest would be there's huge volumes of data that's happening, and they have to be processed incredibly quickly. And then you need to have effective surveillance systems to safeguard the invested and market interest. And when these things are your requirements to a trading application, and the testing has to be to ensure the implementation is a business success. Of course, having a well-tested application that doesn't fail in real time gives you an edge over the competition. And obviously areas of failure are always public news, and you don't want it. So in summary, that's what we wanted to present today. And any questions, we'll be glad to take them and get back to you as soon as possible. If you can email them to marketing@applabs.com. Thank you very much.